I want small government because I think the only legitimate function of the state is to protect the rights of its citizens.
I appreciate the sentiment, but have you ever stopped to consider that the state cannot exist without actively violating the rights of its citizens? This video was made possible by my patrons. Just Another ANCAP, Scorch88, Mag, and all other patrons at the additional tiers. Thank you so much to all of you. Hello everyone, this is My Two Cents. Roaming Millennial via CRTV recently put out a video on Twitter and Facebook called The Problem with Libertarians. Let me say up front that I am very much a fan of Roaming Millennial, and not just because she has a pretty face. She has put out a lot of great content. However, as a libertarian anarcho-capitalist, I was interested to hear what she thinks the problem with libertarians is, especially since she herself seems to have espoused many libertarian views in her past videos. And while I think some of her points do have merit, I would like to challenge Roaming Millennial to do a bit of critical thinking about what exactly it means to be a libertarian as opposed to a conservative, and about what exactly makes a state a state. Let's get into it.
Now in this segment, we're going to talk about some of the problems I see with libertarians. And for anyone who's confused right now thinking, what? I thought you were a libertarian. The truth is, even though I lean more libertarian on the authoritarian libertarian scale, I never really identify myself as just being libertarian, or at least I try not to. And that's because A, the Libertarian Party in the US, yeah, it's pretty much a joke.
I have to agree with her on this point. The fact that most Americans have probably never heard of the Libertarian Party shows that they aren't making a meaningful impact. They could use new leadership and a new strategy. But besides that, the current two-party system of Democrats and Republicans guarantees that a vote for a third party only helps one of these other two parties win.
I mean, they present lizard people like Gary Johnson for president, who, in addition to not knowing what Aleppo was offended by the term illegal immigrant.
Another fair point with regards to the libertarian view of immigration. I myself have said that libertarians need to be both consistent in defense of their views on immigration, but also pragmatic. As a libertarian, I oppose immigration restrictions in principle, as I oppose the initiation of force being used to stop voluntary interactions. But I've also made clear that pragmatism dictates that the welfare state, as well as the democratic election process, must be abolished before immigration restrictions are removed. Immigration restrictions remain a necessary evil until such time as an anarcho-capitalist society can actually be established, since welfare and the potential to vote for greater welfare creates a huge pull for the mass immigration of people who intend to leech off the hard work of others.
Yeah. That happened, and not only that, but honestly, in my experience, they seem way more concerned with legalizing weed and prostitution than they do enforcing things like, I don't know, economic freedoms or Second Amendment rights. Like, we get it. You like pot. Maybe we talk about business regulations now. Just for a second. And
hey, Leo, what's in the bag, man?
How can I put this? Let's just say in this bag are illegal drugs.
Here, I'm left scratching my head. While pot-smoking libertarians is indeed a stereotype, I don't really know of any mainstream libertarian scholars, or even commentators for that matter, who are only talking about legalizing weed. Just take a look at Stefan Molyneux, John Stossel, Tom Woods, Peter Schiff, or any of the other mainstream libertarians that have large followings. I see them spending far more time talking about removing economic restrictions and other relevant social issues than they do talking about legalizing weed. Besides that, supporting a person's right to smoke weed is not the same as actively endorsing weed. I have frequently said in the past that I think doing drugs is a stupid decision that will lead to negative consequences for the user, but that I don't think that means that a state should have the right to decide what's better for you than you do.
And B, the Libertarian Party aside, I find the entire libertarian movement now is just so lost when it comes to having a moral compass and the importance of civil society. And you guys can disagree with me about this if you want, and I do acknowledge that I'm generalizing here. But when I talk to libertarians, especially young libertarians, I find they spend so much time talking about things we can do that they never really question whether we should do those things.
Alright, this is fair if you have indeed encountered a large number of self-identified libertarians who think this way. But I think it's fair for me to challenge you to give some specific examples. Who specifically have you talked to that only wanted to talk about legalizing weed and sex work? I already named off at least 4 mainstream libertarians with large followings on their YouTube and podcast channels who don't match that description. Not to mention any of the fellow libertarian ANCAPs that I work with on a regular basis. If you can make a generalized statement, it shouldn't be hard to also give some specific examples.
See, there's a big difference in advocating libertarianism because you think the state should have limited control over the lives of individuals and corporations, and advocating libertarianism because you want to do whatever the heck you want. Drugs, hookers, it's all good.
And here is where I, as an anarcho-capitalist, have to say that I think a consistent libertarian must come to the conclusion that the initiation of force cannot be consistently justified, and therefore the existence of the state is itself unjust. Well, a pragmatic approach does dictate that a smaller state with less control is preferable to a larger state with more control. I don't think any meaningful change can be accomplished until such time as people see the state as an inherently unjust institution that should exist only as a necessary evil until such time as it can be abolished entirely. I don't know of anyone who is arguing, I just want to do whatever I want, so libertarianism.
I want small government because I think the only legitimate function of the state is to protect the rights of its citizens.
And as I said at the beginning, this is an oxymoron. I understand the sentiment, and I used to share it myself, but think about it. You're probably thinking, well, clearly we need police, military, and courts in order to protect the rights of the people. And I agree. But that would mean that you want police, military, and courts to exist, right? Well, if you want them, why wouldn't you choose to pay for them voluntarily? Why then is it necessary for the existence of an institution with the power to force its citizens to fund these services at gunpoint? The only reason such an institution would need to exist is because the people that run this institution want to fund things that the people would not voluntarily choose to fund. There's no way around the fact that taxation is theft. If anyone other than the government held a gun to people's heads, took their money to pay his own salary, and then to provide services that the people did not want, we would call this what it is: theft. The only difference in the case of taxation is the perception that the state is somehow legitimate. Once this illusion is removed, anarcho-capitalism is the only system that can be consistently defended.
Simple enough. But I also understand that people are imperfect beings that need family, community, society, church in order to learn about and be encouraged to do what is right and what is good for themselves and the people around them.
I'm in full agreement. But I also think that if people don't embrace these things, they will suffer the natural consequences. Which is why the state should not be bailing out people who made bad decisions by giving them welfare or by using other social programs. Conservatives, on the other hand, generally think that the state should use force to make people embrace these things. This is another of the reasons that I came to adopt the libertarian anarcho-capitalist position. Both liberals and conservatives think the government should use its power to decide what's best for you. They simply disagree about what is in fact better for you. Why not just let people make their own decisions and then suffer the natural consequences of those decisions so long as they aren't violating the rights of others?
Humans aren't islands that exist isolated and independent of the choices of others. What you do affects other people whether you like it or not.
That's true, which is why libertarians support the one legitimate use of force, which is the use of force in self-defense against someone who has violated your rights, but also using only the proportionate amount of force necessary to correct the violation. If roaming millennial believes that the state is a legitimate institution with the right to initiate force against peaceful people who are not actively aggressing against others, she's going to have to give a consistent argument for that. Alright, let me say that there is a lot more to be discussed. I don't pretend that I can make a full-fledged defense of libertarianism or anarcho-capitalism in this short video. But I also think that roaming millennial's objections to libertarianism and the embrace of minarchism is fraught with problems. I'm still subscribed to her, and I still think she has a lot of good things to say, but I disagree with her on this matter very strongly. So let me just put this out to her. Roaming Millennial, if you happen to be watching this, I would love to invite you onto my channel so we can have a live stream discussion about this. I understand that you have a much larger following than me and you probably won't be interested, which I don't blame you for, but I wouldn't put this out without at least letting you know that I'm willing to have such a discussion. If you do decide to take me up on it, you can contact me via Twitter, email, or any of my other social media listed in the description and on my channel page. And that is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. You can also hit the bell to ensure you're notified every time I upload a new video. This video was made possible by my patrons. If anyone else would like to donate and help ensure that I have the time and resources to keep putting out content, for just $1 a month on Patreon or Maker Support, you'll have your name listed in the end credits of every video and the link to one of your social media platforms listed in the description. You can also support the channel by purchasing my 2 cents merchandise on Teespring. You can also follow me on Twitter, Minds.com, BitChute, WordPress, Gab, and iTunes. Uploads are every Thursday and Saturday, so stay tuned for more videos.